Good evening, football world. Welcome. This is the NV and Barz Podcast. Barz, how
How's it
you
going,
doing?
guys?
Doing well as always. Hopefully you guys are too. And we know we've been away for a little bit, so don't worry, we got you with great sound. I promised I was gonna get level up, so I did. And nevertheless, hopefully, well, from my perspective, the international break can level up too. And I wanted to get your thoughts on it because now during the coronavirus, I think this is an extra special time maybe to review this. Maybe there is ways to improve on the international break. Maybe there isn't. I'm not sure, but let's figure it out. So, from my perspective, it's been what? We're looking at 2 weeks or a week break every month or 2 months.
hmm
And right now, we're trying to limit interactions, limit flow, limit movements, and to stay as safe as possible, not to contract it and not to pass it on. So, I think that it's not the greatest time to be doing continuous travel in that sense. If it could be condensed per se, like two or maybe even one periods or time frames where you do the international games of like if the period needs to be a month or 2 months long, it is different circumstances. But I wanted to get your thoughts on that and what you think, if it's applicable. Am I just
Yeah,
thinking about
so there's two things we want to look at, right? The first thing is that right now it's Corona time, right? It's the pandemic. Everything is crazy.
yeah,
So what can we do, right? Because in terms of the timeline, the Euros were canceled, right? When is that going to happen? If it will happen, I have no clue. No one really knows, right? So that's one thing. The second thing is what's the
yeah,
alternative way? If we're saying that 2 weeks is too much and and we need to condense it, so what's the alternative? How do we do this in a efficient way? How do we do this so
right,
the players get the rhythm? What can we do? And I don't have an answer. I don't think there's a better way. I'm not saying it's the best way, the way it's run right now, but I don't think I can't come up with a better way to do it. You do have a point, the fact that you don't want to travel now because of Corona. That's a valid point. But the question is, what can we do, right?
yeah.
Because I don't know if they want to bring the Euros. Do you know if it's going to happen? Like, I don't know. I haven't heard anything, so I don't know what's going
For
on
my
with that. What'd you say?
from my understanding is that it's still planned to go through. Whether there will be changes, that's I guess we're yet to see. They would love to have it. I would assume it's revenue drive driven. It's about the name of the game too. If you
Right.
drop that, it's pretty weird to have all these players travel around during the pandemic and then not to
Yeah,
have the
that is
tournament.
true. That is true. But if you do plan to do the Euros and you have the World Cup coming up, like
Yeah,
that's craziness in terms of timeline because you have those two big tournaments. You have the Champions League coming back next week.
that's right.
You have the regular leagues going on right now, so it's really really crazy.
Yeah,
So in
and
terms of the timeline, they don't have any other options. I think.
and the Nations League, right?
Yeah, so I think I heard a quote. I think Wenger actually said it. He said, "If you ask someone on the street to explain to you the National League, no one would know. No one understands it. I don't understand it, but I am a big
Mm,
fan because we get to see our national teams play every month, right? So I can't
yeah,
complain."
yeah. I mean, I guess when you look at it that way, that's true.
Mhm.
Personally, I'm more of a club football fan, but for the international fan, it is, I guess, a great sight. Are you more interested to see, for example, like national league games compared to like Euro qualifications?
I mean, I feel the same way about it. I'm just happy to watch either way. Whether it's qualifications, whether it's a league game, whatever it is. Like I'm happy to watch.
Okay,
Especially for us, for the Israeli National League, like it's always good to see the national team play, even though
right.
we often suck. But it's
And think
always
this is a good thought here. If you have a month where you're just having games for your nation, you're pretty intense in that zone. It could be a different type of an atmosphere that maybe wasn't there yet for
Mhm.
international team. You know what I mean? Like a full
Yeah,
month of just those games, and every game changes your
right.
ranking.
But can you take a month off from the regular league? Can you take a month off from your actual team? I don't think you can.
Right. But then you are taking it anyway, I guess, with more time on planes with the travels.
Well, no, I mean I don't think that's accumulates in 1 month.
Right. Right. So
Think about it. 1 month is a long time off away from the league, away from if you play in a cold country like Russia and you're from a warm country like Israel, like that's crazy difference.
yeah, but I mean, if you have all the clubs all the leagues timing a break together, maybe it could work. You know, or maybe I'm
Maybe.
just overthinking it.
No, you might be right. I don't have the answers. But I do enjoy these 2 weeks every month that we do get to enjoy the national teams. We do get to enjoy the different squads, the different atmospheres. So I can't complain. I know the players might feel different, but
Exactly.
I enjoy it.
Yeah, and maybe we don't have the answers for everything, but through this international break, we did make predictions beforehand. So
Mhm.
let's see how accurate we were on.
Oh, how do we do?
Or actually, we'll come back to the predictions later on. We'll probably touch more upon the transfer market, which ended. We are going to do a review of some of the top six as
So
well
wait,
as.
did it really end? Because I saw some transfers, some loans going on today. I think I have it right here. If you give me a second. Victor Moses joined Moscow, Spartak Moscow, and I
Okay,
thought the window was closed.
maybe that was some deal that was working on previously and got an extension. I'm not so sure about that
Yeah, I
specific
don't
case,
know.
but I do know that the window is still open for with in-country transfer. So you get, I believe, another week or two from the for initial deadline
Well, he
to
went from Chelsea to
loans.
Russia, so I don't know.
Yeah. So again, that could be something that they requested special permission to do after the deadline, having maybe
Hmm.
done some things. Maybe it was a visa issue and that's why it only was processed
Maybe.
now. So you got to look into it specifically. And yeah, so that's definitely an interesting one. Any other specific ones that you saw interesting that we can start off with?
Nothing recent, but we can go through the top tier teams in the Premier League and sort of analyze. So if you want to start with your favorite Arsenal, you brought in Willian, you brought in what's his
Right.
name?
We got the party.
Yeah, exactly. Caballos came back for another
Alone.
loan.
That's
You
right.
have Gabriel, right?
Yes, Gabriel, and we let go of Guendouzi late in the window. Let go of Torreira,
Yeah.
both on loans. Nevertheless,
Hmm.
did not get a war, which we really wanted to. And
Right.
we still let go of Sam Greenwood. We loaned out a couple more young talents. So overall, I would say it was a decent window. A lot of people are rating it somewhere of like an 8 out of 10. But
I
if a
think
war,
our should have happened, and I
like
think it will eventually. I
yeah.
don't know when, but I think it will happen eventually.
Yeah, I think even with a war, that's still not a 9 per se, right? That would have been maybe an 8 with a war because there's still more to do.
Really.
And
So if a war came in, you won't say it's a 9.
if a war, no, because of the timing, of how long it takes, of the fact that you lost a part of the season, of
Hmm.
time to mesh, and you're gonna lose more time by them getting used to it. Maybe there's gonna be some dynamics in the locker room. I don't know, but there's
What
less
happened
things to
with
deal with.
Martinez?
Emiliano Martinez, that's true too. He
That's a
was
sad
sold.
story.
That is a sad story. He came in, and
He's
we
been there
were
for
actually
years.
doing. He was there for years. I actually do not think it was a good call to let him go. He was my personal preference. His
Mhm.
saves of expected goals was about
He was
0.63.
doing a good job, especially at the late part of the season, towards the end.
Yeah. So
Right, he
basically,
got
yeah.
no.
So
Go
so,
ahead.
so he saved way more expected goals than Leno did throughout last season
Yeah.
on a per game basis, which is for 10 games, it's a good sample size. It's not the greatest sample size. He was working with a back line that was getting fit together again, which
No
wasn't
offense,
great.
but terrible backline. Terrible. David Luiz, terrible.
I mean, again, you say that, but he is one big games starting and playing throughout the game. Maybe sometimes he gets caught off of his position and makes a bad decision, like Ramos does very often and gets carded. So I don't think he
Oh,
is
don't
bad.
compare Ramos to David Luiz. Don't even go there. Come on, you
I
can't
mean, I'm
compare
not.
those
I would
two.
only go there because David Luiz he's actually been performing well, and he has
Oh
been
man.
performing so well that I can tell you this stat right here. Bear with me just a split second. How well Arsenal have been doing actually since that Brighton game, right? So Arsenal have won 8 of their last 12 Premier League games, which was more than they did for the previous 28. Since that loss to Brighton in June, no side has picked up more Premier League points than Arsenal.
So
And
you're
David
telling me
Luiz
if you
been
had to pick
starting.
your five-a-side team, right, and you had to pick your number one defender between Sergio Ramos and David Luiz, you think they're equal?
No, we're not talking. But we're not playing five aside. We're
Come on,
playing.
stop.
We're
Don't go
clearly
there.
we're
Don't
clearly
go there.
playing.
I know you hate Real Madrid. It's fine, but
We're clearly
don't
playing
don't go
11
there,
v
man.
11.
Don't
I'm
start.
Listen, it's 11 v 11. We're not playing 5v5. So
Don't
if
start.
we're
You
gonna
can't compare
stick,
Sergio Ramos to David Luiz. That's come
look,
on,
our
come
David Luiz.
on.
Listen, you can ignore the facts. That's fine. But David Luiz started 10 of those games, and Arsenal picked up the most points. So you can trash him as much as you'd like. But Arsenal are performing better than a lot of the other Premier League teams. So again, I was not the one who said Manchester United will top the league. So I mean, I'm looking to be pretty much on the right when I'm talking about these predictions. And you could see when he's playing very, very well, playing out of the back. Once you bring Tierney in on his left side, he's quicker and he helps cover, helps spreads the ball well down the line. I mean,
I'm
there
sorry.
you
I
go.
think
This
it's a funny comparison, but hey, to
No,
each his own, right?
I compared positioning and decision making when you're out of position. That's what I was comparing. You all of a sudden took it to 5v5, which I'm not sure why to go there, but sure. So at the end of the day, what I'm saying is Arsenal's window is definitely, not an 8 or 9 out of 10. That's for sure. I'll give it 6.5, only because I can't go 6. We got a great player. We got him super late. Willian, great depth. He's just a little older. We're not seeing Saliba in the fold, so that for me is not as good of a sign for this window. And too many center backs still in the fold when it comes to Socrates, Mustafi, a lot of players I'd like to see let go, like Kolasinac. So to say it's a good window, great window, I wouldn't go as far as saying that. Again, I never said
It's one
David
of your better
Luiz.
ones, though.
Hold on, but I never said David Luiz, for example, was better or worse than uh, than your man Ramos. But your man Ramos
You
has the
didn't
most.
say it, but you know,
He's the
you
most
gave
red.
you gave hints.
He's the most carded player in Real
He's
Madrid.
almost he's about to be the most capped player ever in national team's history.
That's fine, but he also has the most red cards.
Look at the
So I guess
trophies.
something.
I mean, if you want to go there, we can start. But you can't compare Sergio Ramos to David Luiz. Come on,
Again,
come
all I'm
on,
saying
man.
is
If you had to if you're Arsenal, you have to buy one of the two. You tell me you're buying David Luiz.
the answer is neither. But I would
No,
actually
answer the question. You got to buy one of the two.
one
Same
of the
price.
two,
Same
same
price.
price. I would right now go David Luiz. He's been a
You
better player
kidding?
for us. He's been playing well for us.
Oh, man.
Ramos gets a lot of red and yellow cards. He's the most carded player, and it's not a
You got no
surprise.
Reds last year.
You got no reds last year?
Nope. No Reds.
Okay. I can double check that real quick for you. That's fine.
It's funny because I know you hate Real Madrid so much with such a passion.
That because you're misconstruing my words. That you think that
That's what
you
you
think that
said.
I
That's what
literally
you said.
the
You're
only thing I
comparing David
said.
Luiz to Ramos.
I mean, I don't know what to tell you. All I said was they can get caught off position, which is facts. I don't know why you're arguing facts. Is Ramos always in perfect
Every
position?
defender could get caught off.
Is Ramos always in perfect position?
I think so.
That you don't
Well,
think
no
so?
matter
Okay.
what he does, I kiss his feet no matter what he does.
And there you go. So there you have it. You're gonna kiss his feet even if he's in the wrong, and that's why we are having this argument because you're not seeing
Comparing a
from.
captain of the best team in the world with one of the best nations in the world, which has won almost every trophy out there possible.
Excuse me. How many trophies did David Luiz win?
You tell me.
No, he won, right? He play a lot of years with Chelsea. Then he won with Chelsea. Then he played with
What about
Brazil.
Brazil?
He played well with Brazil. You're gonna bring up
Well,
the game. Bring up the game. What did he
you
bring
mean the
up the game?
Brazil-Germany
Bring
game?
up the game.
The
Yeah,
Brazil-Germany game?
of course you're gonna talk about that game. I understand. I understand. But that's fine. Ramos had a lot of breakdowns as well, and I'm not here to pettifog on the little games. All I'm saying is he is the most red-carded center back in your team's history.
I think
Most
if I ask any
red-carded.
Arsenal fan in the world, they would say throw him away.
Well, I mean, they're wrong. Clearly, we won. He started, and
It's
we're
your
winning
opinion. You
games.
can't say they're wrong.
It's my opinion. And then again, you see that the coach signed him onto an extension. He was very focused on making sure that this guy comes in with an extension because he's a great player for the locker room. So, yeah,
That's an intangible. That's
I'm
a
not
whole other subject.
understanding. I'm
There
really
are a
not
lot of players. There are
understanding.
a lot of players that have a lot of intangibles that they're not a stat on a piece of paper, right? So, I totally
Right.
understand the locker room thing. That's a whole other subject.
How about playing the ball out of the back? Do you think he plays the ball well out of the back?
David Luiz?
Yeah.
No.
And there you go. There you have it. So you don't watch enough of David Luiz because he plays very well out of the back. So that's just that.
From
Maybe
what I see Arsenal playing, he's the first player I would sub out. I don't see any player that cannot step into his position in the Arsenal squad.
I mean, for coming from a Tottenham fan, I'm not gonna take any criticism on David Luiz at this point anymore because it's just not realistic. You don't watch him play. How can you? Last weekend we were talking about what Liverpool, Arsenal, and you didn't watch them play. So it's tough to. You got to watch them play. in order to
I'm
say
not. I
how
mean, I'm not
in
gonna
order
watch
to
every
comment.
game. You're all right about that. But when I
Yeah,
do watch, it's
yeah.
not. It's just not a good sight. And it's
Okay.
fair enough. I don't watch every Arsenal game,
No,
so
fair
I
enough.
can't say much.
Like when I tell you that when I sometimes watch Real Madrid and I see Ramos play bad, then
You can say
sometimes he
that.
plays bad, and
You can say that.
sometimes he plays very well. Sometimes he plays
That's fine.
exceptionally well. He's a
You can
great
totally
leader.
say that.
He's a great leader. And if you would have asked me, I would have told you that he's one of the best playing out of the back and attacking center back, probably the best attacking center back right now on the amount of goals he scores, and he has good vision. I don't trash players for no reason. I do see their positive sides, but he has lapses of concentration.
I just don't
He
see
makes
how that
bad
even
decisions.
starts in your team. I just don't see how you
In a
have
three back formation, he works well. I don't want to play a three-back formation, and for that
right.
he would shift out. But
I agree with you. I don't think they should play a three back formation.
you have to look at the whole team as a whole, right? You can't just say I'm going to have two good center backs and nobody else plays. You need backup players. You need
Of
different
course, and
formations.
he's a great to have as a backup, like you said. He's good for the locker room, right?
Yes.
He has years on his back, so he's a good cover up. He's a good sub. Someone gets injured, I think he's great
Yeah.
for that.
Well, I hope he continues playing because at this rate, Arsenal have been performing a lot better than anybody would expect them to over the last 12
I
games.
agree with that.
They're
I agree with that.
over the last 12 games ranked number 1 technically. So, pretty interesting to talk about. So if Awar was there, maybe they would have had an incredible season this year. They're still probably
I
up
mean,
there.
you can still come in. There's a winter window.
We'll see. I mean, with these owners, I don't expect much. Like I told you when we were talking about the transfer window, I was always going to be surprised if both signed. And I was saying Awar would have been the first choice. That's what they went at him first. They couldn't get the price down, and they were always going to bring Party in, but they waited for the last minute to try to nickel and dime Lyon onto a lower transfer fee. Didn't really work out because you don't have your player. They even had that post we were talking about, which ended up shooting them in the foot. Apparently, from that point on, the agent of Awar demanded $10 million in agent fees for the transfer.
Really?
So, yeah, so it's little things that twist your negotiation stance. And again, like I always say, Arsenal seem to make constant mistakes when it comes to their negotiation power. So, well, to look on to some other clubs that have been having mistakes or
Wait, so what
troubles,
would you grade the window for Arsenal?
6.5,
Seven and a
six
half.
and a half at a time,
Okay.
6.5.
Okay.
Not above
Six
seven
and a
for sure.
half.
Yeah, not above seven for sure.
See, from my
The
point
only
of view,
reason,
I'd rate it an 8.
I mean,
From
yeah. So
my point of
I've been
view.
an Arsenal fan for a while. Yeah, I've
Yeah.
been an Arsenal fan for a while. Gabriel and Partey, we've been crying out for them for a decade. They've come in a decade late, so I'm not gonna pat them on the back for being late to the party. But Partey is here, so it's above a failing grade for sure because of that,
Mhm.
and only because of that. Otherwise, even Gabriel, we were looking for him. We are looking for a player like that in so long. He's a good player. He's got great potential, but we still haven't seen him play consistently. Not here, not in France. He played one full season in France, one full season on loan beforehand. He performed well on loan, performed well with Lyon, but then again, it's just growing through smaller leagues, so he hasn't been completely proven on the biggest level. He does look an incredible talent, though. Don't get me wrong, but
No,
to
I
get
agree.
the best grades, you got to get the best proven talent. You know what I mean?
hmm Totally agree.
So, what are your
Um,
thoughts? I want to get your thoughts on the United transfer window because they have
oh,
had.
I was gonna bring up Chelsea, but we can go to United. So if you ask me again, as someone who said fairly early on, I think even before the season started, that they're gonna be going all the way, I would give them an F because
Right.
I thought they would bring in the backup they needed. I mean, at the end, they brought in Alex Telles, which I think was a must to bring someone to cover for Luke Shaw, which I mean, if you watch a United Tottenham game, which I know you did, um, you can blame him single-handedly for half of the goals, right? So um, their problem is not the offense. Bringing someone like Cavani, even though he's a free transfer, to me that's silly. Like
Yeah.
that's what's the point? I mean, locker room player, fine. If that's the explanation, I'm okay with it. Um, and because it was free, I can't really say much, but I think they should have brought in a lot of defensive players and strengthening their midfield. I know they brought Van der Beek or yeah, Van de Beek. I can't pronounce his name. And,
Donny van
yeah,
de Beek.
Donny Boy came in, which is great. We haven't. I don't think he's played a game yet, or maybe he hasn't. He hasn't started a game. That's for sure.
Yeah, he's been playing on
Um,
and off.
it's just not enough. You bring in 50-50 midfielder. That's great, but they need to work on their defensive minded players, right? So you can't start Matic anymore. He's
No,
beyond his highs.
he turned slower
Um,
than milk.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I love Mason Greenwood as well, but he cannot be your starting right winger. You
Yep.
cannot start with such a young kid.
Exactly.
So I think Martial, the striker, should be the starter. Rashford on the left, a starter. But you need a superstar on the right. And if they would have pulled off Sancho, that would been great for them. But they didn't. Um, so they didn't gain the strength they needed in defense, not in the midfield, and they're missing another superstar player
Hmm.
to be on that right wing. So is the way to go? Should they should they change formation? Maybe don't play with wingers because they don't have the third player. They don't have the third player to play there. So
Right.
if I needed to rate their window, which just to put some salt on it, they let go of Gomez, which is a great potential young player, and Chong, which is also they're both academy players, very high potential. They let them
Right.
go. I don't even think on loan. I think they're just sold.
Sold them. Yeah.
So if I had to rate their window, I'd give an is an F minus possible. If an F minus is possible, I would give them an F minus,
And in terms of a score out of 10, what would you give them?
a -5.
-5.
Yeah, I don't see
Really?
what they did.
Okay. I not even like a one for
Nope.
Telles or
Nope.
the Traore youngster from Atalanta who
No,
looked
that's
pretty
not going to
promising.
help them out. They have a young potential young winger. They have that. They
Right.
didn't need to bring him in. I mean, he's a great addition, but that's not what they needed. It's like me. If I have two cars, I can go and buy a third car, right? But do I need a
Yeah.
third car? No.
Unless you're
So
selling the first car.
unless, but United are not selling any cars right now. So,
You don't
um,
think they'd be selling Rashford? Because they've been laying, for example, they've been
oh,
laying out a lot of money.
they're
48
stupid
on
if they
another
are.
youngster.
They're beyond stupid if they are. He's
Yeah.
their star player.
Right.
I don't think they should.
So
If
for
anyone's
example,
being sold, is Pogba, but he said he would love to go to Madrid.
right.
As a Madrid fan, I don't see him having a spot. Not at the moment.
Right.
So
Right. Yeah, no, I agree with you that he's a little bit everywhere when it comes to his form. He's not consistent. It's just been a little bit weird with him. You almost say, oh, wow, he's a great talent, but I just can't have that on my team because he's in the middle, not defensive enough, sometimes doesn't want to work as much. So right in the middle in the heart of the team, it's tough. So maybe he missed out on his chance for the bigger
and I
clubs.
think that's because of his situation in Man United. It's not clear about what he needs to do. 'Cause If, he,
Yeah.
if he's playing a three midfield formation, right, and is he
Yeah.
the attacking one? Is he playing a more defensive minded game? Is he supposed to be like what's his job, right?
For me, is a box to box.
I agree with you, but I'm saying I think that's his strength, right? But what's his job in the team? Because for me, he has to cover up on the defensive side, right? He has to
Mm.
cover up for match. That's what he has to do. He doesn't have another option.
Right.
So
Right. And they
how
just
can you?
recently bought Fred, right? 2 years ago for
Yeah, but
50.
no, it's not it. He
Yeah.
had the potential, but he fell off the grid. So you're
Maybe a
putting
time
him in a
machine and
bad
fell
at a
in.
bad spot, right? You're putting Pogba, which is a great player, at such a bad spot. I'm not surprised on his situation, but it's unfortunate to say the least. Very unfortunate.
Yeah. Yeah, they're not looking so great. I would have probably rated them like a 2, only because I personally really like the talent that they got. Traore. I think Tallis is decent, right? Better probably than Luke Shaw.
Oh,
They they should have CDM and center back must, but they
yeah.
didn't. So it's very interesting. I less agree with you on the Cavani part. I do think that a commanding central forward was something that they don't have. I don't see Martial as a player that can hold up the front and the top three. I think he could be a wider option, maybe with him and Rashford on the wings, Cavani up front.
That's
Uh,
possible.
yeah, and then something like Van de Beek and Fernandez behind them, and Pogba on more of the defensive front, staying back more, facilitating, pushing the ball up. So maybe that could be more of the formation they go with, a 4-3-3. I just don't see Ole Gunnar Solskjaer running a successful 4-3-3 for Man United. Like you say, what is Pogba's role? And the way that you see his role is the way that he portrays it from whatever his coach tells him to play. So his coach tells him play in this position, play this way, make
Yeah.
those kinds of decisions. That's the product you see on the field,
I
and
mean,
all
look how
looks
he
good
plays for
for
France,
Pogba.
right? I think that's the best example. If you look at France, right?
Yeah,
Um, That's what he plays. That's where he enjoys playing. That's where he's best at. So, yeah, I mean, I get what you're saying about Cavani, but if you looked at Man United as a car, right? So your
Yeah.
front would be a Lamborghini, right? Your mid would be like a Honda. Then your back would be
Right.
like a broken bike,
Yeah.
if you ask me, at least. So if I had to put my money into an area to fix, right, I wouldn't touch a front, which is might not be the best, but it's the best part they have.
Right. Right. I
So
mean,
to me, totally failed.
I can agree with you in terms of they should have done the defensive aspect. I just wouldn't avoid doing the attacking side if that comes to pass on a free transfer of somebody who is commanding and proven. So, it's tough to let go of such an option when you have so much youth. Other than like Igalo, who went Watford 2 years ago to go to China. That's their only center back or center forward, their true center forward option other than Cavani, which is that's no center forward option for me. Martial can play, not always commanding enough, not as well with his back to the game. So I think Cavani is a good purchase. So overall, I'd rate them a 2. But we can go on to Chelsea, which you started
Okay.
talking about. So yeah, so we kind of touched up a little bit about their major signings. I don't know which ones you wanna cover. We want to start off with.
I mean, all of them really. I think they did a great job in this window. They got Ziyech, they got Timo Werner, they got Chilwell, they got Sarr, they got Thiago Silva, Havertz, and Mendy, the goalie. So I think every purchase was on point. Um, I think these players are filling out spots they had open, and they were missing these kind of players. There's so much potential in the squad, right? So I'd give him an A. I'd give him a 10 out of 10 or a 9 out of 10. I don't see what else they could have gone out and purchased. You
Yeah,
know.
yeah. I think that in terms of purchasing, maybe a center back. Center back would have been a
Well,
good
they
option to
have they
bring on.
have Zuma. I really like Zuma. He's still young, if I'm not wrong. He still has a long time ahead of him, right? So
Yeah, he's good. I like him.
I like his partnership with Thiago Silva, which comes in as like this like mentor of like you know.
Yeah, I'm also a fan of Thiago Silva at this stage. He's 36, going to be 37. You saw first game he had a slip up, gave up a goal.
Hmm. Yeah,
I don't know. I'm not
I'm a
sure.
fan
So
of
if
his
like if
the
Cavani
move.
is
I mean, I think the move is great.
I mean, if Cavani is, if think about it, if Cavani is past his prime for United, then what is Thiago Silva for Chelsea? Because Thiago Silva is
No,
older,
I
much
wouldn't
much more
say that
vintage.
he's past his prime for United. I would say that back to United. I think they just invested the money somewhere else because, right, he is a free
Yeah,
transfer, but you're paying the
right.
salary, which can be small. So,
I'll just make sure you don't forget that Thiago Silva was also one of the center backs for the 7-1. So for
right.
that defeat on Brazil. So again, things could happen. Inconsistency. So
I'm not saying he's better than Ramos, though.
no, no, I never said that David Luiz was better than Ramos. I said I don't like both center backs for their inconsistencies. I just see what they bring to the table. I think there are better options. I just think that there is good aspects about them. Thiago Silva is a leader. He's a commander. He's good
Agree.
out of the back. Well, when he's shaky, it's not a good look because usually what he brings to you is that solidity and that strength and your core and that belief. So him looking shaky is not a great start. So hopefully for them he can bounce back up because if not, it's gonna be a rough
But Chelsea
transition
has
year.
also looked pretty good recently. They lost one game, if I'm not wrong, but
Yeah.
they look decent. I
So
am
so I have an interesting stat here for you. It's kind of like combining an Arsenal and Chelsea kind of a thing. So Arsenal have had 77 10 plus passes, open play passes sequence in the Premier League this season. Well, only Chelsea had more. Chelsea had 81. But Arsenal scored more goals than them, converting the most, and that was 10 goals. So on the conversion, Arsenal were able to to convert more on those passing transitions, but Chelsea are able to possess. You do see that talent. So we're going to really see how Frank Lampard is able to take that talent and use its capabilities in being more efficient. So
hmm
I
Yes,
think
for sure.
that's going to be the key for Chelsea this season. Maybe they overpaid, but they got talent. So
Um,
it's they got to do
did they
something with it.
overpay?
Yeah.
I'm not sure. Maybe for Kai Havertz, but at the
For
end
him,
of
I
the
would have
day,
said no.
they
Actually,
they put in they put in so many new players in their starting 11, right? So it's gonna take some games too for them to come together. I'm not surprised. It's just how
right.
humans work out. It's our team. That's how teams work. You bring in a new body, it takes them a while to adjust.
Right.
especially if it's someone from out of England. So I'm not too surprised they're not perfect yet, but I think some big things are coming from them. I think they have a bright future in this season.
It's going to be interesting. Where do you see players like Hudson-Odoi and Loftus-Cheek falling into the rotation when?
So Loftus-Cheek was actually loaned
Right.
pretty much last minute, which is very unfortunate because he did start in the beginning of the league. He did start those games along with Mason Mount. So it's very unfortunate to see him go on loan. But from the other perspective, he's going to get the minutes he needs. So
Yeah.
yeah, either way, I think it's going to work out at the end if he comes back to Chelsea.
And then
Hudson
Hudson-Odoi.
Odoi, I like the fact that he comes in every game though. I love the fact that I don't think he should open, right? He's still young. I like the fact that he
What,
does get the minutes,
what about
but
when Ziyech and who else comes in? Ziyech and Pulisic.
Pulisic,
When they come into the rotation, is he going to come in at all? You think?
that I don't know, because your priority is Mount, right? We can all agree that
Is it?
Frank Lampard's priority is to give Mount the minutes. I think he's
Yeah.
the most important youth player that Chelsea has. He's the most promising.
Really?
So So if I was Frank Lampard, right, every game I'd bring Mount in. But the question is, who goes out besides, who else comes on from the bench? And what I don't understand, and I see this a lot with Real Madrid, is that Zidane doesn't use all his. They have 5 subs now,
Right.
and he doesn't use all 5 subs. He barely uses 3. So if I was a coach, again, maybe it's because I play FIFA a lot, but like I would try to use my subs as much as possible to give
Right.
those minutes to those young guys, right? Even if it's 10 minutes, I want to give these young guys a chance. I want to give these young guys the minutes and the opportunity to play. Even if it's just 5-10 minutes, just the fact that they go on to the grass and they, just the atmosphere is
Right.
just a whole other thing to get used to. So um, I don't know what Lampard is going to do in every game, but I
Yeah.
can promise you the Mount plays if he's not injured. Question is who else comes in from the bench, and I think that's gonna have to do with the game and how the game goes. Obviously, I think Mount is your only given. He is the
Yeah,
only
but
given
but
you
but
have.
can you play Mount, Havertz, and Ziyech at the same time?
Can you? I'm
I
sure. I'm sure there's a way. If anyone can find a way, it's Frank Lampard, right?
really,
But
I actually don't think that way. I don't think he's that good where he finds a way for everything.
I think so. I think he
Really.
did an amazing job last year, and I give him full credit for doing what he did with the squad that he had.
Right.
The question is how Hudson-Odoi is going to fit in that team. That's a
Yeah.
whole different question.
I
I
mean, he
believe
took.
Mount will, but what'd you
Yeah.
say?
No, because he took Chelsea from third to fourth place, even though they lost Hazard, of course. But we're gonna have to see what he does this year because if he's not in the top three, then he
Well,
has
not
made
yet.
no
I mean, it's still
improvement.
early. You can't. I mean, right now your top three is has Aston Villa in it, right? So I
Right. No, no. I
wouldn't.
mean, technically, we can both. Well, you don't agree that Liverpool will be too clear, ahead of the pack. For me, it's you have City,
No.
Liverpool up top, and from there it's Arsenal, Liverpool, Tottenham battling.
I mean, I think Liverpool will be top three. I don't think. I don't see them winning the league. I've said this from day one.
Yeah. Yeah.
You saw it the last game they played, right? We can all agree. But I do think Chelsea will make top four. I'm sure of it. I don't see a way that this squad cannot make top four, cannot make Champions League football. I don't. There's no chance, and they're playing well
So,
now. So only good things can come in the future when they get the chemistry up and they start getting used to playing together. And I'd like to see Frank Lampard, the midfield genius he was. I want to see what he can do with that, with those players.
yeah. No, great player he was. A coach we're yet to see. Hasn't won anything. Hasn't brought any team or even one spot up in the rankings, and even neither when he was in the second division in the championship. So we'll see. But good talent. This will be his season to show what he's got.
All right.
If he doesn't bring at least top four, there is no way he sticks around. Chelsea will not keep him around. I would even argue that if he doesn't get into the top three, he is going to be fired. I don't think
That's
that.
that's a that's a fair thing to say.
Yeah, I think that it's with all the investment, especially this year, they brought
Yeah,
in
no, you're right.
the defender, they brought in a bunch of attackers. If you don't improve on what we did last year, then when will you improve? So it's his, I guess, third try in 3 years to improve a team, and On that note, that's another try. The thing that they did, they wanted to get Declan Rice, and they couldn't. They wanted to sell Jorginho, they wanted to sell Conte, but that didn't go through. So that was a big move, Declan Rice. Maybe
It looks
that
like
was
Conte is going to be out of the team coming this winter. So
it's going to be interesting. And
yeah,
United definitely need a center or a CDM, so that could work out. But I guess we could go to the other side of London and see what Tottenham's up to. So what are you? How are you looking at this
so
window for
before I say anything,
Spurs?
I'd give him a 10. I'd give him a 9.
10.
I think that
Okay.
that an amazing window. They didn't bring in too many players, but Bale, Reguilon, Vinicius, not the Real Madrid player, obviously.
Right. Right.
Doherty, which is also a great addition to the defense. Joe Hart, which is a weird one if you ask me, but because we have our young goalie is pretty promising too.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then
Gazaginga. What's his name?
yeah, Gaza.
Well, yeah.
And
Something like
then they brought in I can't pronounce his name. I'm looking at it right now. Hoiberg
that.
from
Hoiberg. Yes,
Southampton.
Hoiberg from
So
Southampton.
that I didn't understand.
He
I did
he's
not
he's an
understand.
ex he's a Bayern Academy player. Bayern
Yeah,
Munich.
that doesn't make him worth buying.
No, he's a good he's gonna be better than Winks in there. That's
Winks
my
is
opinion.
young,
Yeah.
he's not that young. So
How old is he?
um,
26, 27, Hoiberg?
something like that. I thought he was 28, but I could be
Yeah,
wrong.
it could be 28. Let's see you here and there. He
My
captained
point is, I
Southampton
mean,
too.
for me, he doesn't start. He has been
Yeah.
starting, I believe, but for me, he doesn't start. For me, he's
Right.
a cup game, player, or
Yeah.
like early group stage,
Yeah.
Europa League kind of player. But that was a weird transfer, but it is what it is. It's not a bad buy, but it was weird to me.
So here's a question for you. So a window that's a 9 or 10-ish, right? For Tottenham, where does it bring them from? What was it, 7th last year? Where should we expect them to be with a 9, 10
Top four,
window now?
top four.
Top 4? Top 4. Okay. So that's going to be interesting
That's
to
his
see. A
goal,
lot of
right?
teams
He
grappling for
has
the top 4.
Mourinho should have 2 goals on his plate. Top 4
Right.
and winning their Europa League.
Yeah.
Those should be the 2 goals for Mourinho. If he can achieve one of the 2, he's definitely going to be there next year. If he achieves both of them, then that's why
Right.
he's a special one. That
Yeah.
will be him. Maybe he'll even there's after that game they had everyone saying, oh, maybe they can win the league, right? Because
Yeah.
we haven't seen Bale yet, we haven't seen Vinicius yet, so I wouldn't get carried away by one game.
How many times will we see Bale?
There's rumors that he's going to be playing his first game this weekend. Not starting, but those are the rumors. And from the videos I've seen, he looks good in training, but that doesn't mean much. So
Yeah. I mean, fingers crossed for you he stays healthy. Knock on wood, but it's been an issue with him.
I mean, I think in Madrid it was a mental thing. I don't think it was. Of course he kept getting injured, but even when he got the minutes and he was healthy, he just didn't seem like he's there. There's no better explanation than to say it's a mental thing, right? He wasn't happy. When you're not happy, you're not playing well. So he looks happy now. You saw him in the stands, smiling, laughing, cheering. We all know he loves Tottenham, right? He grew up there. So, well, he didn't. But my point is, we'll see. I think he's happy now.
We're at Southampton.
Yeah, he was bought from Southampton. But my point is, he looks happy. So we'll see how much that changes his style of play and his form. So I was saying that Bale looks happy now, and I think that's what's gonna turn his game around. So again, it's too early to tell. It's too early to say that Tottenham are going to win the league. That's a little ignorant. You can't say that after one game. That's a little silly. But it looks good. I'm a Mourinho fan, so we'll see where it goes. I think top 4 is realistic. I think winning the Europa League is realistic as well. So we'll see. It looks good, though. It does look good.
So basically, covering, I guess, Tottenham. So what I would rate their window as would definitely be a positive one. Personally, I wanted to see Serge Aurier, some work on that department. He's a little shaky, gives up some extra fouls, some penalties, cards that he shouldn't get, maybe too many mistakes.
You wanted to
And
see
the
him
center
sold?
back, I think that they need to improve on that position. Yeah,
Well, they got a right winger and a left winger, left back and a right back.
Who did they get for right back?
Doherty.
Doherty. That's right. All right. So hopefully that could be enough for them. True. So I guess an 8.5. I wouldn't go 9 because I think a center back is needed. I
They
just
have
think that's what they
Sanchez,
really need.
and
But
Eric Dyer has been playing center back too.
yeah, I don't. Eric Dyer's been very inconsistent in and out.
I agree. I like Sanchez more than Dyer as a center back,
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, so probably one good center back right now, and a lot of teams right now have the same situation. So it's going to be which roster can hold up their end of the bargain in terms of limiting mistakes, etc. So maybe that little bit of extra depth up top will help Tottenham sustain pressure on the opposition team, not have to worry too much on the back. So it's gonna probably come down to consistency for me for their season.
Yeah,
How consistent? How much can they stay healthy? How
for
much can
sure.
they play together? And build on that, because if there's going to be a lot of ups and downs up front, the defense won't be the one to push the team forward for a
For
successful
sure.
campaign.
And
So
while we're talking on Tottenham, we haven't said anything about Dele Alli and his weird situation. I mean, I don't know what's going on there, right? He was out of the squad for about 2 weeks. Now he's back. He looked good when he played, so I'm not sure what's going on. But I hope that he stays and starts every game.
yeah, yeah,
I really
I
do
hope
hope
so
so
for you guys too. I mean,
because he's
it's
brilliant.
it's
He's a
almost
brilliant
like
player. So
yeah, I don't want to say it, but it's an Uzil. It's almost like an Uzil situation. A player that's a little bit lazy, perceived lazy, at least from behind the scenes. Does play, isn't playing. Is he injured? Is it a rife with the leadership, with the management? What's going on? And it seems to be a similar boat that they're both in. So hopefully, can figure it out, because he was a great talent. He seemed to be
oh,
on the
trust me,
right
I
track,
know.
going forwards in the middle, coming from the sides, combining great touch, first touch from the air, from the ground, and great finishing. So that shied away. Honestly, his first season or two was his best, and since then, that form was just, for me, I just never saw that intensity again.
Hmm.
Maybe he can bring that back. Maybe Mourinho can help that, and that's definitely going to be a player to look out, because if they can bring all that together, they can be very dangerous going forward. Again,
Yeah.
it's going to be the defense. It's going to be the defense. Can they hold it up? And can they be consistent? So it's going to be, I think, a season with a lot of possibilities, really.
Of course, it's very open. The team's looking in form, so
And to
um,
wrap up, I guess, our transfer conversation, we could go to Everton. And I think that's an interesting one, because we refer to
yeah,
Everton.
I think we talk about them in every episode. We always talk about how the midfield overhaul, right? Brought in
Indeed.
3 new midfielders. All 3 are starting every game, and they've done an amazing job so far. So, I
Right.
mean,
Yeah.
I would rate their window an A or 9 or 10 as well, because
Yeah.
whoever scouted the players, right? Whoever called the shots did a great job, because it's obviously working, right?
Yeah.
Again, it is early to tell, but at this moment, they're if I'm not wrong, they're number one. So,
They are.
what can you say?
All right, the only thing I guess you can say is what's going on with their goalkeeping department. Pickford's had a few flares of what's just dropping the ball out of midair. It's not the right goalkeeper for what they're trying to do. I think that's the only place they should have improved on during the transfer window. James Decore, James Decore, now
Who
on.
would you bring in instead?
Jack Butland from Stoke. He's currently trying to get out of Stoke, and they're in the Championship, so they could still probably do that through. He wasn't. He was capped for England. Was a very good goalie. I think
Yeah.
that should be a possibility, or at least
Hmm.
something in the midterm. But I do believe that they got Olsen from Roma on loan, one of
They
the
did.
last moves.
They did.
Right, so that's kind of like a backup option in case they just have to make that move and they cannot handle Pickford there anymore,
Yeah.
because they scored a lot of goals in their the first few games, but can't afford to give up too many more. Can't afford to, and they also sent Walcott out to Southampton, back to
Yeah.
his old club.
Which is nice to see.
Southampton, great
I
feeding ground
enjoyed reading
apparently.
about that move.
Walcott and Bale, everybody comes from there.
Yeah, yeah. No, I liked the fact that Walcott's gonna be playing and get these minutes, because he's a player I used to enjoy watching until
Yeah,
he
yeah,
fell off.
exactly.
You know, so good for
Yeah,
him. But
they got a Wobie, they got other players.
Yeah,
Yeah, but Everton's gonna make it through. Everton will survive.
for
They're
sure.
surviving pretty well without him right now, and I think it's also because you need players that'll produce. He just wasn't producing enough for them on the
Mhm.
wings. So now you have Richarlison. Now you got Iwobi contributing. You got Jameson.
Right,
They're gonna get more goals from the wings. You got
for sure.
Decore. You got Sigurdsson. You're gonna get more goals from the middle. You got Digne on the left. You got what's his name on the right? I'm blanking out on his name. Coleman. You're gonna get goals and assists from them. Yermina, he scores a lot of goals, center back.
Yeah,
You're gonna get
scored his
exciting
last
games
game.
from this team. What's that?
He scored the last game.
Yeah, yeah. I think they could honestly be a surprise team to make it to the top four and finish the season in the top four. That's gonna be the
I would love to
real
see
top.
that.
They got the team. They got the team. It's not like
I,
they don't.
I don't think they'll make top four
Goalie.
just because it's a process, and I think it will be too big of a jump to go from where they were last year to top four. But I'd love for them to make it happen. I just think that the jump is a little
Right.
too big, and it's a project, right? They're building a project at the moment.
Yeah.
You can't expect, and Leicester did an amazing thing, but I don't expect them to win the league. It's a project that's being built, and I think Ancelotti is doing an amazing job, and it's going to be exciting to
Yeah.
see in the next 2 years or 3 years to see where they go.
Yeah, it's gonna. They got a healthy mix right now. It's 2-3 years. We'll see. I would say they're number one right now for a reason. They've played decent sides and they have
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
performed. They perform. So I guess from that topic, we can go a little bit into what we promised in the beginning, the predictions, because
Yeah,
we did the predictions earlier on in our second podcast and kind of didn't get a chance to touch up and see how we did. So let me pull up our games, or actually the results in correspondence. But we called 6 games, and one of them was the Sheffield United Leeds game. You called it uh 2-3 to Leeds, saying that I don't remember if you called that there was a lot of goals for Leeds, so it's going to be a high flying game. I actually called it 2-0. I mentioned a last minute winner, and that's actually what ended up happening. It was a last minute winner to take it home. Or not a last minute, it was like an 87th minute goal, I believe, by what's his name? Their centers forward.
what was the actual score then?
1-0.
1-0.
1-0. But I'm pulling up right now just the entire list of all the results, the fixtures. And yeah, there we go. That's our 1-0. And the next game, Tottenham Newcastle. We both shit the bed on that one. We said we had Tottenham going. You had them 2-0 on the lead. I had them 3-0, but it was tied. Newcastle came in through late. I don't remember. I don't know if
Yeah,
you watched that, but that was a head scratcher. A head scratcher. I
that
really thought
was
Tottenham, they could have won the game easily,
easily,
3-0, 2-0,
easily.
4, even 4-0. Like they had
Yeah, for sure.
just missed opportunities. They let us down this time.
Yeah,
Anyway,
yeah. It's
next,
it's it's a matter of bad luck. It is what it like. They should have won, like you said. They had the opportunities there. So
exactly. So right now we're tied. We both called this 1 goal differential on the first game. Got this one wrong. Next one had Leicester against Manchester City, which was that big game. I don't know if you remember
yeah,
the 5-2 scoreline at
yeah. I
the end
remember.
for Leicester. Yeah, you remember who you called it for?
I called City.
You called City 2-1. I said if Leicester, they're foxes, but when they smell blood, they're sharks. And there you had it. I had 3-1, but I underscored the level of savageness, and they went for 5 and just tore Man City to shreds. It was an exciting game to watch. Definitely always love watching those kinds of games, opening
Yeah,
games.
that was a great game.
And then Liverpool Arsenal, and that was really disappointing. It was the red card to Mane. We kind of touched up upon that. Nevertheless, I had the game called 1-0 to the Arsenal. Did not go through. You said you wanted 3-1, but you think was it 1-0? I believe you said you thought it was. So we'll give you half a point on that, and I think.
Wow, half a point. You're so
But
kind.
half a point. That's you'll see. But in terms of the next match, Real Madrid against Real Betis, I said 3-1 Betis. You had 1-0 Madrid, and I
And I
was
said it's going to be a
close.
1 goal difference.
Yeah, you said it was a 1 goal difference. Was it a 1 goal or was it
It
3-1
was
to
two
Madrid?
one at the end, I think.
2-1? Okay. 2-1 to Madrid, 1 goal difference. And then last game, Barcelona Villarreal had it called pretty much the same. You had 3-1 Barcelona, I had 2-1. but the result was about, what was it, 1-0? Was it 1-0
I
result, I
don't know.
believe? It was a 1-0 Barcelona win. And nevertheless, we both got three results correct. You got that half one. So you won for that game for those results. And for the upcoming ones, we have our big games highlighted. We started sharing some of the posts so you can share your results and what you think will go down. First game, we got the leaders, the number one, the table toppers against last year's champions, Everton against Liverpool. What's your
That's
score?
that's a tough one, but I don't see Everton losing to Liverpool, not at this moment.
And at home.
So I'm gonna say Everton's gonna take the W. If you want the actual score line,
Oh, yeah.
I'll say 2-0.
2-0 Everton.
Yeah, which I hope I'm wrong because I play in a fantasy league and I do have Allison, so I hope I'm
Okay.
wrong. I hope I'm wrong. So
Fingers crossed for you that you're not wrong, but I actually have it going. I don't know. I really want to see an Everton win. It'll be kind of crazy to see Liverpool lose two games on back to back, but Aston Villa is not on the level of Everton, in my opinion, right now. So I'm expecting Everton to play better. Liverpool will probably let up some opportunities, and Everton will crush it in. But
yeah,
Pickford can let up a few opportunities. 3-2 Everton. That's
listen,
my
I think
call.
that Liverpool is
And
not
the
looking
next one
not
is an
looking.
exciting one.
I was just gonna say the Liverpool is not looking good after 2 weeks off. Players are coming back. Haven't played together in a while,
Yeah,
so I don't know.
exactly.
I think Everton's going all the way.
Okay. I mean, I have Everton too. I think they're gonna bring a little more spice. I think.
Hmm.
Imagine Liverpool getting just trashed another seven something.
So and then I would come in and I'll tell you I told you so.
Right? I mean, I still have Liverpool
Well, I
scoring.
don't mean I don't mean
Everton
this
scoring one
prediction.
goal.
I mean the whole season.
Oh, the whole season. We'll see. I mean, the whole season is the whole season, right?
Yeah.
Nevertheless, when Klopp did have his falling out at Dortmund, they were near relegation for his the season that he was
Yep.
let go at. So that could be something that happens, but I still think there's too much talent on that
For
team
sure. For sure.
to not be top two
Hmm.
specifically. But we'll have to see. Leicester, Aston Villa. That's two of our sharpshooting teams right now. Everton, or sorry, Leicester, very on the Vardy-esque, hard-nosed and steel toes. And then you got Aston Villa with a bunch of their young talent, heavily invested and playing some amazing football. What are your thoughts on
Yeah.
this one?
I see Leicester getting the W in this one. Score wise, I'll take a 3-1 to Leicester.
3-1 Leicester. All right, all right. You think Vardy's got has got a hat trick here?
I think he's gonna get a new six-pack of Red Bulls and chug them before the game and go all the way. That's what I think is
How
gonna happen.
crazy is his meals? What does he eat exactly? You remember?
He doesn't eat. He drinks Red Bulls and smokes cigarettes and
Really?
crazy. That's what I read from. I mean, I read it like 2 years ago at this point, so maybe even more. So I could
Oh,
be wrong, but it's a lot of energy
honestly,
drinks. A
I
lot of
wouldn't be
energy drinks, which is
surprised.
crazy. But
Well, I really like Aston Villa right now, and Leicester have been on and off scoring. I'll go 3-3 here. We're gonna
three
continue seeing a
threes,
lot of goals. Yeah,
interesting.
3-3. 3-3. We both actually won 3 goals to Leicester here, so
Yeah, and you actually, I don't know if you realize you missed the Chelsea game. There's Chelsea Southampton.
yeah, because that's less of an even
Okay,
playing field. I wanted to put the even playing fields and then get also Barcelona and Real
sounds
Madrid in
sounds
here.
good. Sounds good.
Next game is Manchester City against Arsenal. What are your thoughts?
That'd be a good one. I see a 4-goal game, but the 4 goals will be spread both ways. So I think a tie, 2-2.
Okay, okay. Well, I think that pulled up some stats before showing how Arsenal have been playing better football. And Manchester City have been losing the ball a lot, and bringing in Partey will probably lead to a lot of transition play. So I'm gonna go on
You
high
think he
scoring
starts?
goals. Well, I want him to start. Will he start? He better start. I think he's gonna start. He's the best option in midfield. So with that being said, I don't think City have anywhere close to as strong a defensive player in the midfield. So that's going to be an interesting thing to watch. How much can he deflect their trials and attempts to enter the box? I think that would be more often than Arsenal have been able to defend in a while. So City will only score one here if they can hold off City for the entirety of the first half and maintain one or maybe not even give up a goal. Definitely in the bag for Arsenal. And so 3-1 Arsenal. That's what I
And I
think.
was actually gonna say, I think it's again, it's gonna be won by the defense, right? Whichever team has a
Yeah.
stronger defense, this one is gonna take it home.
Yeah, yeah, and I believe Manchester City scored 70% of their goals this season in the first half. So shutting them down for that first half would probably put you in a position where they're getting tired in
Yeah.
the second half, especially with last year. You have your
Hmm.
Champions League, you have your long season, not much of a break. So taking all that into account, teams tire off in the second half.
For sure.
Hopefully, Arsenal can capitalize on that. Press hard first half, finish it off second. But
Hmm.
the next game is a West Ham derby, and it's Tottenham versus West Ham.
Yeah.
So where you stand on this one? Because West Ham just took down Leicester.
Yeah. I think it's gonna go. I think Tottenham's gonna win. I don't know if it's a 2-1 or a 3-1 game, but I don't see Tottenham having a clean sheet. So I think West Ham will score.
Hmm.
But I definitely think that Tottenham will prevail and get the W.
Okay, and what do you think would be the scoreline?
I'd say 3-1.
3-1.
Bella coming off the bench, assisting Harry Kane towards the 70th minute.
Okay. Well, I don't know. I don't even know what to say here. Last time I was confident when Tottenham were in form, and they tied with Newcastle at home. So against West Ham, who are riding the tide, and there's a lot of question marks on when Tottenham side will Bale play? Will he not? Maybe he comes in as a sub, doesn't really have as great as an impact right away. They don't close it out. I think it's going to be 2-1 for West Ham.
Okay.
Yeah, they're on form. They're scoring. They're probably going to score at least one here
Mm-hmm.
by the looks of it. And Tottenham just have not been capitalizing. So on a team that shut out Leicester, they should be able to at least put up some sort of decent performance, defensive performance against
Mm-hmm.
Tottenham. And when it comes to Real Madrid playing newly promoted side,
Yeah.
Cadiz, how do you say that? Cadiz?
I think it's Cadiz, but I couldn't
Cadiz.
give you a straight off answer.
Yeah, so that's the best we're going to do. Real Madrid against Cadiz. I think Real Madrid will probably have this one in the bag with a 4-0 victory.
4-0. Wow.
Yeah, newly
I'd
promoted
say
side.
2-0. I wouldn't give him a 4-0. I don't think our offense is that efficient. Not yet, at least. So
No, I agree with you that there's probably more in terms of getting the communication, getting the efficiency down pat. It's just that it's a little side compared to all these great talents that Real Madrid have. So I would expect a few opportunities, and maybe they collapse. A new side give up 2 quick goals, and then boom, the floodgates open. So maybe
yeah,
we'll
I give
see.
him a little more credit than that, but I think the problem is going to be Real Madrid missing and not Cadiz or whatever, however you want to call them. I don't think their defense will be the problem. I think the problem is going to be our offense. Just like Tottenham lost to Newcastle. Having those chances and not pulling them in, and
Hmm.
that's been our problem. So
Right.
you can look at the XG rates, right?
We'll
You
have
can
to
look at
see.
the numbers, but I think our problem is our offense and not the defense reversing.
Yeah. Yeah. So is Cadiz expected to be a good defensive side from what you know about
I
them?
think a lot of the Spanish teams they're very strong in tactical sides. So you can expect a tough, grinded out game. But again, I think the problem is going to be our efficiency in front of the goal and not the opposition we're facing.
Okay. Okay. So let's see. We'll see. I had Real Madrid scoring 1 goal. They upped it. So maybe this time more. And at home too. At home too. So
Yeah,
maybe.
but what is at home? They're playing in their training facility. They're not
Yeah.
training in the Bernabeu. So,
Well,
and I don't think this whole home and away thing has any kind of effect on them. I don't think so.
I personally like to think that locker room makes a difference. You know your locker room, you know your place. You have to travel, that makes a difference. It changes up your rhythm a little bit. It's a different place. You might not be accustomed to it. Could be nervous walking into a Real Madrid facility. So I'm
That's what
pretty
I'm saying.
sure.
It's not the Bernabeu. So
Yeah, yeah. Still, you're playing the same players, so we'll have to see. Still getting in front of the same eyes, so there's still the same pressure. It's just that it's not there physically.
hmm
It's still potential. It is there mentally, right? Because people are watching. It's just that they're not
right,
there
right.
physically. You don't hear them
No, there's no
actually.
fans. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's it's gonna be interesting, especially for all these promoted teams. Usually you would see them flying and their fans up and excited, but the fact that there is no fans
hmm
is probably gonna benefit Madrid even more. And so Barcelona against Getafe. That's gonna be a matchup because Getafe is a good defensive side, especially.
Yeah,
And
I
Barcelona is
agree.
not really clicking. So what are you thinking here? And
I
it's
think it's a
Barcelona
three,
away.
3-1 Barcelona.
3-1 Barcelona.
Yeah.
Wow.
I see Getafe going on to score the first one, Barcelona equalizing, and then scoring the second one, and then grind out the third goal. Then
Okay. Okay. I mean, fair enough. I think Barcelona have definitely the capacity to score. And Coutinho's been playing well,
he's been doing really
very
good.
well. He's almost proving himself the right decision to be getting the game time. Griezmann a little bit off, but hopefully he can tune himself in as well. I think they're flowing. They're looking better. I don't know if I would give them 3 goals. I'm just gonna go 2-1 here. I'm just gonna go 2-1 to Barcelona. I just don't think that they're that well tuned to score more than that at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe Messi bails out. Griezmann has looked very, very bad. It's just he's the middle, he's the center, and everything should be building around him. For example, Real Madrid builds around Benzema, and he's their strong suit, so it makes more sense for the flow. Messi doesn't play as a central striker. He would play more of a false nine, sort of in that in between the line position. So it's going to come down to whether the players that he gets the ball to in the right position, whether they can make the right decisions, and if they can finish. And we've seen
Yeah,
in all the previous Champions League campaigns, they can't finish. He'll get them there, but they will not finish. So,
yeah. I think the problem with Barca is that Griezmann has been playing he's been put in a position where he plays as a striker,
right.
and I don't think that's his preferred area. I don't think he
No.
likes or enjoys or feels comfortable playing in the number 9 position, and I think
Hmm.
that's leading to him not performing his best. So we'll see. I mean, I heard him say something. He was interviewed after the game with France, and he said that the coach knows how to use him under the national team. So is that throwing shade? I don't know, but I think he's clearly saying he doesn't enjoy playing in that number 9 role. Will it change anything in Barca? I doubt it, but we'll see.
Yeah. Yeah. To me, it sounds a little bit weird because the position that he plays for France would be very conflicting with that of which Messi plays in. So,
It
I
would
mean,
be. That's why he can't play there.
I'm just wondering what he is suggesting and what he's thinking. So, should Messi be dropped for Griezmann? Is that his thought? Did he move to Barcelona to replace Messi? And if so, did he think that it was just going to happen straight up without playing with him? I'm really questioning this guy's decision making, though I know his work ethic is incredible.
I think
That's
the
that's
entire move I think his entire move was questionable to begin with.
Yeah, yeah.
But
I didn't like it. I didn't like it. I personally don't like at all those big money moves in general. Even when we brought Nicola Pepe for that amount, I think that was a little too much for a player who had 1 season under his belt. But his skill, with the ball.
mhm.
Sometimes with this market, you pay it. But I always think if you pay over 60 million, 50 million for a player, you could have done better business getting talent from elsewhere.
It's possible. Today the market is so exaggerated. So well, not today, but today I think prices are slowly going to drop. But
Right. I mean, all you have to do is look at Borussia Dortmund, clubs like that, like RB Leipzig. Tell me the
yeah,
name who they bought for more than 50 million. It's just not.
that's true.
It's not there. So
That's
they
your
see some
scouting
of
network.
these
So yeah,
players. Yeah.
yeah. No,
Yeah.
that's totally true.
Yeah. It's definitely interesting times, and that kind of wraps it up for the predictions and the show for us today. Next, we're gonna be touching up upon the Premier League changes, the new rules, regulations that are being proposed. declined for the time being, but we're going to be bringing that to you. Top 4 post or top 7, sorry, post transfer market. And DJ Barz, anything else you want to throw in there?
No, you covered everything, man. Thank you guys for coming and hanging out with us, and we appreciate your time. And till next time, right?
Like, yeah, like, subscribe, comment, so you're there. Get all the notifications,
Hit the
baby.
button.
See you
Or
soon. Hit the button.
okay, guys.
Somewhere it's there. You'll figure it out.